Mr. Chairperson, you are live.
All right. Welcome everyone to the marketing meeting. I guess we'll open up with a roll call here.
Perfect. Houston.
Here.
Kruger.
Here.
Kroon.
Here.
Yonkis. Quinn.
Here.
Walsh.
Here.
And we do have just a couple of staff members present. You have quorum, Mr. Chair.
Sounds great. All right. First order of business, approval of the agenda. Someone have a chance to review, and are there any?
I have no changes to the agenda.
No changes to the agenda. So I looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Jim Kroom.
That was Ray.
And then
Seconded by
I'll take that. Ray seconds, and
That's fine.
oh, okay. Houston.
yes.
Kruger.
Yes.
Crew.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes. Yes.
All right, and then as per usual on our call, we'd like to just address the consideration to limit public comment to 2 minutes per individual. Again, due to COVID-19 pandemic, the Downtown Management Board is holding its meeting via the video conferencing platform Zoom in correspondence with the MCL 15.2631. It is the recommendation of City Attorney's Office that all city affiliated boards and commissions holding virtual meetings adopt a rule limiting public comment to 2 minutes per individual. If approved, the recommended verbiage is motion to adopt a rule limiting public comment to 2 minutes per individual. I do make a motion to adopt a rule limiting public comment to 2 minutes per individual.
Second.
Good. I will do a roll call vote. Houston.
Yes.
Kruger.
Yes.
Kroom.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I do believe that we have one attendee. So just so that everyone is aware, caller, I see that it's an Olivia Simone. You will have 2 minutes to address the board. And if, Mr. Chair, if you're comfortable, we can open up public comment now.
Yes, please. Welcome.
Okay. So Ms. Simone, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm actually here on behalf of my journalism class at Michigan State University. I'm just here listening for an article I'm writing.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Well, welcome. You are welcome to listen, and feel free to contact staff if you have any questions after the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yep. Good luck.
Okay. So that was our public comment. Again, welcome. Please feel free to let us know on questions. Financial reports, I think, is up next to kind of go over where we stand today.
Okay, everyone. So we are a quarter of a way through really our financial period. I guess I want to start with page 2 just to kind of bring everyone up to date. So we've obviously, we begin, July 1. We have to date for October, we've had we have our staff salaries, so that supports the 2 internship positions, along with 1 computer rental. In terms of initiatives that we've paid for in the last month, we did do a Downtown Mass required poster reprinting. So that was part of our Together We Will Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign. That was really successful. We actually got some requests from businesses for some more. So we have printed some more of those. The GoDaddy domain renewal, that is our EL Buzz, more of our construction-based website, but we needed to renew that so that we can update information. I know that we all know that like MSUFC's building is going to be under construction, so that is really to just continue to hold our domain name. We, at the last board meeting, approved a $500 sponsorship to the Creative Placemaking Summit that was put on by the Arts Council of Greater Lansing, so we did receive recognition from that. That was paid. And then we also have Call Loop, which is that text messaging system that we work with subscribers. So we made a payment to that. And then our Great Pumpkin Photo Contest has launched, which is great. So we printed Halloween flyers, and then you'll see that we have actually printed and have a selfie station that I'll talk to you guys about in a little bit, but at the farmer's market. So we basically purchased like an inexpensive backdrop where people could go to take pictures if they decided that they didn't like, just want to meander around the downtown. So it's a specific place that's staged that people can go to kind of snap some photos during farmer's market every summer. So that's kind of fun. In addition, we did buy some social distancing stencils that have been chalk sprayed throughout the downtown. You're going to see a lot of those. We've been down in the last couple of days. You're going to see a lot of those outside, kind of in preparation for some game days and things like that. So those have been throughout the community. And then in terms of pending expenditures, we do have a professional services agreement with Piper and Gold. That has been entered into. We've not made any payments towards that, but it is obviously accounted for. And then holiday installations, which I'm going to talk to you guys about in a minute as well. So I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. But really, all told to date, you have expended a little more than $14,000, so $14,380. You have approximately $36,993.88 that are pending, and so of that, $50 or so $1,000, you still do have a total budget of over $76,170. So you are in good stead at this time, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, we can move on to the next agenda item, which is our calendar of events. Anybody have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else?
None. Okay, so I thought because we were kind of have a lot of things on the agenda today and we're kind of popping around, I thought that it would be prudent if we just kind of went back to our original annual calendar of events just to kind of keep everybody in tandem with our expectations and what we kind of have down the pipe. So obviously, we all recognize that COVID has sort of drastically affected our programming, but we're still trying to do effective outreach. So for the month of October, right now, we have underway, it's the Great Pumpkin Walk Photo Contest. People can submit photos online, and those are uploaded, and then they're entered into win prepaid Visa gift cards, as well as downtown parking validations. On the agenda, this just changed this morning. You're going to see that there was the intent for the Chamber of Commerce to do an EL small business crawl. They've actually just notified me this morning that they're going to do it in November and December. They're not going to do October because they only had about 9 businesses sign up. But they're really confident, but they only gave out 1 notice. So they're confident, like if they continue to do a couple reminders, that number will increase and that they'll have good participation in November and December. So, I guess considering for the next 10 days, we're going to continue to do kind of Halloween outreach, safe practices, things of that nature. In November and December, this is when we do a big holiday push. At the business relations meeting on Friday, we're going to have a big discussion about, are we doing sort of a Green Friday component? What does that look like? Is there going to be winter glow? I can tell you that they're going to discuss sort of a passport concept where perhaps businesses go in and maybe it's more of a scavenger hunt, but it's drawing people into those individual businesses, having them, support them financially and then kind of things. So that's one concept being floated. Something we're going to talk about today is, the Black Friday. So last year what we did was we did a promotion online for Black Friday. We didn't do an event, but we basically had businesses send us their deals and discounts and we promoted those online and we did Facebook posts. So something for you guys to consider. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit more about holiday decorations and where we're at with Shine Lighting for all of that. But I wanted to just kind of give you guys a snapshot of where we are kind of through the end of the calendar year. Obviously, perhaps in January, things might get a little more normal. I'm not sure, but then we can kind of entertain the idea of promotion of winter sales like we do Valentine's Day. A lot of this we can still certainly do virtually if that is the need. But I just kind of wanted to share with you guys kind of, you know, what we are anticipating through the calendar year. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay. So I guess I'm going to transition right into holiday decorations then. So here's the deal, guys. At the last board meeting, the board had approved that the Downtown Management Board enter into a contract not to exceed $8,600 for annual holiday decorations, okay? So these are the garland and the red bows that we put on the lamp posts throughout the downtown. So along Grand River Avenue, along MAC, Division, Charles, and Bailey, okay? We also, through contract with Shine Lighting, they install white lights. They drape the tree trunks in Sharp Park, and they put in white lights along the 500 block alleyway. So where Jersey Mike's used to be. At the last board meeting, there was discussion about and a request for staff to reach out to Shine and say, is there a commercial product? Is there a vendor they work with that would look nice in the downtown? And if so, they had approved it to $2,000 towards additional lighting. So I did meet with Shine Lighting. I walked them throughout the downtown. We had a good discussion about it. And unfortunately, the sad news is that they just feel like, well, I guess they don't feel like there is no strong commercial product yet. They said that there's residential product, right? So what you see people put on their houses, but not a commercial grade product that is probably going to wear well. So it is their recommendation at this time that we not purchase solar lights, that perhaps we let, you know, the technology catch up with us a little bit, and that maybe in a year or two, there would be something that would be stronger suited for like a commercial grade. When I asked them why they were making that recommendation, they said that it was really because, you know, especially if we attach them to the lamppost, like the board was talking about, wrapping them around the lamppost, they're going to look dull. They're not going to look bright. And so that is our rep's recommendation. Now, certainly, if you guys want me to pursue it, I can look into more of like a residential, you know, type of product. But they said they don't have anything industrial or commercial grade at this time. So in tandem with that conversation, actually last week, I was on a Responsible Hospitality Council meeting, and they asked me about holiday decorations. And there were a few RHC members who are restaurant owners in the downtown that said, well, hey, you guys are doing all the cross streets but Abbott. Why doesn't the DMV decorate Abbott? And I gave, you know, I said to them, let me find out, because I was aware that the city, not the DMV, the city sometimes put up real greens around the holidays, and I just couldn't remember if it was along Abbott. And it turns out we do not. I confirmed that with Department of Public Works. So be this as it may, you know, some of the businesses along Abbott were like, well, we really like decorations too. We're part of the DMV district. So what we did was we, Gabby, went out, and I think she's joining us on the call, but she went out and she did a little sketch up of where we don't have lampposts right now. So there are basically 4 along Abbott that we could install. And I believe that the blue stars are like the King Standard, the shorter ones. And then there's a taller one over by like the new development. And then we realized there was a request for consideration maybe along Albert. So here we don't have, we don't have garland and bows along Abbott. We don't have any along Albert, and we don't have any in Main Street Plaza. Historically, what we've done, though, if everybody can see my cursor, is right. We've done them along. We have them for MAC, Division, Bailey, Charles, Grand River. So the rest of the DMV district has them. In Ann Street Plaza, we have not decorated those lamp posts. They're sort of obviously in the general patio area, but the city does put up a holiday tree and does wrap the lamp posts of the clock tower with natural greens. So that is more of a general congregation area. So I think that we have lots of options, right? If we didn't want to perhaps buy everything at once, perhaps we wouldn't necessarily need to invest in Ann Street at first. Maybe we would focus on Albert and Abbott. But we wanted to get you like a full-blown quote, right? What would this look like? So if you were to purchase garland and one additional red bow for all the lampposts, and then what they call like the bow tie, so it's to keep the garland straight, it's an additional expenditure of $2,503.20. That is just for the product. I assume that there would be a little bit more of an increase, right, for Shine Lighting to also install. I assume it would be closer to, $500 range, nothing huge, because they're already going to be out there with their bucket truck that day. So that's where we're at. There isn't a
I'm
commercial
sorry,
product.
you said the cost for installation would be about $500?
I think about 500, and I can confirm that for you guys. So, that's really where we're at. I don't know how you guys would feel about, how do we, I think the first question is, do we want to step away from the solar right now? Or do you want to pursue it with something that's more residential? And then I think the second piece of the pie is, do we then talk about, if we step away from solar, do we want to maybe take originally the $2,000 the board was thinking of spending on lights, and do we want to try to maybe allocate that more to like additional garland and bows along Abbott and maybe Albert? So that's what we have.
I thought at one point Harbor Bay said they were going to decorate Albert. Is that not the case anymore?
So here's what I know Harbor Bay does. They have their own, I guess we should talk about, they have small bushes that line Albert, and they put white lights on them, and they pay for that. But they do not decorate the lampposts. So the lampposts that are along Albert that are owned by the city, those are not decorated. But they do white lights in front of, like on the back end of the development that faces Albert.
They may be a touch at odds with the city right now as well. So who knows what they're really willing to do.
I assumed that, but I was just questioning if anybody had any thoughts on that.
That's what
Everyone should come together for lights, Mike. Everyone should come together for lights.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Just more of a realist, I guess.
Yeah.
Let it glow, let it glow, let it glow, let it glow.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting proposal to look at, and it sounds like businesses in that area were asking, to say like, hey, we'd like to have some decorations as well. I mean, we're at a point we're here to serve the businesses. I don't know that any other businesses have said like, we need additional lights. I know that's always been our thing, but if our budget is allocated towards what the businesses want, and, we're showing a more consistent decoration style, at least this year, we look at doing that. And once we purchase them, are we basically saying like, we're good right there, right? Then next year we can focus our budget maybe on lights, and then maybe that's what we
We could just outfit all of Valley Court as well next year.
Good. There you go. See? Yes. So to your point, Justin, yes, the Downtown Management Board owns all of the existing garland and all of the red bows. Initially, the DMB and DDA made a purchase together, but the DDA was gracious and basically said, we're going to help you buy these, but they're property of the DMB. So you own all this stuff. And Shine, we pay a minor fee to them, but they house it for us, which is even better. So we own it and they house it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to that respect, I mean, I would be supportive of extending where we, have the decorations, reallocating towards that. I mean, if we do the light and then waiting on doing lighting, when, for another year, I mean, we'd have to propose to the board that we want to do additional funding towards lights, and the extra decorations. That kind of the other alternative.
Yeah, and I listened closely to the tape a minute ago just to see if there was flexibility, but the motion at the board was $2,000 for lighting. So what I would recommend is, if there's a majority consensus, I would like to take this to the board for the November meeting, and just say, get that stamp of approval, and we can order stuff. I did ask for turnaround time, and they said that it's 10 to 12 days usually for like the bows and the garland to kind of come in. So I think we should probably allocate 2 weeks, with the caveat of, I think that we're planning to try to have Shine go out right before Thanksgiving. So if it all lands right, if the stars align, they can hopefully all just go out once, but we could certainly talk to them about potentially having to go out twice to add the additional decorations.
Should we make a motion to do that?
Yeah, I think the motion would be, if people are in favor, I think the motion would be to make a recommendation to the board for the allocation of, $2,503.20 towards the purchase of garland and bows throughout the downtown.
Okay, why don't we so move?
Okay. Is there a second?
I I will second
I'll
that.
second.
I will do a roll call vote. Houston,
Yes.
Kruger,
Yes.
Kroon,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That motion passes. I will place that as an agenda item for our November 2nd board meeting, and we will discuss it with the board then. Great. Okay. Well, moving right along
Yay.
and in the spirit of the holiday season to Black Friday. So last year, what we did was we created a webpage. We reached out to businesses and said, if you're going to offer deals and discounts, we're happy to, recognize those on our webpage. And we spent about $500 on a social media ad buy. I don't know how people would feel about that for this year, but that is what we did last year. Obviously, this committee can expend up to $500, without board approval. Trying to anticipate your needs if you are interested in it. We did have our graphic designer work up a couple of ads that, I don't know if folks had an opportunity to look at this ahead of time. She worked up quite a few. She said she wanted me to tell you that these are rough and that she would, finalize and make them more professional. But here are a couple of ideas that could be placed on, social media things. So I just kind of wanted to share.
Boy,
that.
it would be nice if we could offer free parking.
Well, and I could certainly, so I think that what we did last year, in fact, I know that what we did last year, Ray, was that the businesses that offer deals and discounts, we did work with Caleb and give them X amount of free parking. So we could certainly try that approach. I mean, I don't mind asking for the full shebang and saying just lift the gates that day. I have no problem. But I might recommend that we have a backup second request, which might be, well, what you gave us last year was, X amount of vouchers per business that offer deals and discounts. What are people's thoughts on
It was just a thought.
what that looks like? I'll ask Ray. I have no problem asking if that's what this committee wants to do. So, do we think we should?
Should we make a motion on that?
Sure. The motion could be to sort of, host a virtual event and allocate up to $500 towards the purchase of social media ads.
Yep.
So moved.
Yes,
I
so
think,
moved.
it would be good opportunity.
All right. And is there a second?
I will second.
Mike is indicating perfect. Okay, I will do a roll call vote. Houston,
Yes.
Kruger,
Yes.
Kroon,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Does anyone have a real strong opinion on the ad look? Or would you just like staff to make a determination on?
So these are all not just
Hot pink is kind of hot.
Hot pink is kind of hot.
Yeah.
These are all just rough drafts that are the city of East Lansing's graphic designer created. So they're whatever we would choose is our property. So yeah.
But we have to choose one of these.
I mean, I was thinking for consistency, you might just want one, but I think if you guys want a couple, that's fine. I think
How are they?
maybe
The
two.
social media is what targeted, right? So it's segmented
It is.
population, young,
Yes.
old, whatever MSU, whatever non-MSU.
Yes.
So then, I don't know whether or not they're going into depth on that, kind of segmentation of, reaching people on social media ad buys, but it seems like you may have a little opportunity. The hot pink one, I do think grabs attention. It's kind of like, fun. I'm not opposed to that, but I do think there might be some opportunity for some variation as you go out there, depending on how much you put it out there. So consistency is good, but
Yeah.
I think also it catches people's attention when they see different things as well. They don't just ignore it the second time. They're like, oh, what's that one? To me, I would almost want a few options, one that's just very standard, like gets the point across, very traditional, holiday, Black Friday, and then maybe a couple that are more fun, funny. Like I like this one that's just Black Friday. Like I think that's kind of, it can be, I think it can be done humorously, but I don't know how much more they would be able to put into it to, do that. I'm thinking, just a little more fun around it might be nice. So does it cost more if they do 3 options? Or what?
No, the nice
Black
thing is
Friday,
that the graphic designer services are provided through the city in kind to the DMV. So
Black Friday, save your green.
there you go.
But
Black Friday, save your green. No, Justin, I think that's fine. I have no problem asking her to whip up a couple. Because to your point, you can do targeted. I mean, you guys know this. But you can do targeted on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So I think it's fine if you want to, right? Like,
I just think some of them have some good graphics.
60s and 70s is probably like this one, right? But I kind of like that one, and I like that one. So
I think that's funny. I think that you post it out there. I think if it had our logo, is it going to have our logo on it?
Yes, she would definitely put our logo, and I think that we would put, like, obviously would be like, for deals and discounts, or like put our link in the text of the ad, right? Not how do I want to put this? Not the ad itself, but in the text.
In the text of the ad. Okay.
Yeah, it would be like, visit downtownyale.com for a list of businesses.
I would move more towards the fluorescent, the hot pink, that kind of stuff. I think it's different than, there's going to be so much holiday stuff out there in the next, 30 days that it's just kind of like, let's maybe get off that and get on something that's a little more, edgy. We're edgy. We're downtown.
That's right.
Different, edgy.
Yes. Kruger knows that edge.
I like it. I know. I'm looking at my
through and through.
realizing that it's all men except for me, and that usually they joke that the women do the majority of the buy sharing, but today you gentlemen are not fitting that mold. Helping determine behaviors. I like it. Okay. So I will have her work on 2 to 3 ads. We've approved $500. We will share that with the board. And then obviously, we have a little time. So if we felt like we needed to invest a little more, we have some time to do that.
okay, that sounds good. Well done.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Moving on then to a different incentive. So we are all familiar that we have been trying to be creative with, like, the Together We Will Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign. And one idea that we kind of had as staff was perhaps we could give away some swag. I know that this discussion also came up at a recent board meeting about, like, well, what if we purchase masks and put the DMB logo on them? I think particularly when we're talking about giveaways at the farmer's market. We price pointed some quotes. Gabby actually worked hard and price pointed some quotes for you at about $500 for now, just to try to see if you were even interested in sort of doing a test program. But essentially, you can kind of see the quotes here. You can get anywhere from, with one, you can get anywhere from, like, 100 up to 239 or so masks for about $500. T-shirts are usually about, $4 to $5 a pop. I think the thought was that if we decided to do this, that the DMB would, purchase some, whether it's T-shirts, masks, or both, and that we would try to hand those out at random. We do know that there's going to be some upcoming home football games coming up. Maybe we could ask some of our mask ambassadors, they're already on the street, to just give them out randomly. Or maybe we give X amount to, some businesses, not a ton, but we certainly couldn't give everybody, but maybe, to some restaurants, or, to resell some retail locations, and just say, hey, when you see people come in, you could just give them this and say, like, as a thank you. But we just really wanted to kind of give you a general look at what, we could have. These are based off of basically one color. So, like, one colored mask, maybe it's a green mask with bright white print, or vice versa. We could get more fancy than that, but I think that we wanted to just kind of run this by you to see what you thought. And certainly, know, there's not going to be a ton of football games. So if that was something you wanted us to conduct outreach with, I would recommend to try to, you know, get some stuff created so we would have it for at least a couple of upcoming game days. But this is really what we sort of came up with. And as a reminder, you know, we do have a local purchasing policy in East Lansing. So, you know, I know that Retro Duck is a local vendor, so we could certainly go back to Luke as well and see if he's willing to match the lowest. But,
I'm in support of doing masks. You know, I think that, you know, like you mentioned, the mask ambassadors, you know, I think targeting people who may not be wearing masks, right? And like just handing them one. And, you know, if we can give them to, you know, our businesses so that, you know, they don't lose business because somebody walks in and, you know, otherwise they may ask, you know, they may not feel comfortable asking them to leave, but now they can at least offer them a mask, right? You know, come downtown and be safe, right? Here's a mask. You know, it reinforces what we want them to be doing. And I think that's not a bad idea overall. You know, to be honest, it's probably more likely than maybe the t-shirts at this point. You know, I might focus more on a budget towards the mask. It's going to be happening for a while. I don't see us necessarily, you know, pulling that as a requirement. So I don't know, Mike, Corey, what are your guys' thoughts on these things?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the t-shirts either. I mean, t-shirt's a t-shirt. What's, you know, I mean, what, and I think they probably need to be, you know, I mean, a mask, everybody's giving out masks now. Everybody's wearing masks. So the reuse of them and the re-seeing of them and everything, I think would kind of get the message out there. The t-shirts, I mean, I got drawers and drawers of t-shirts that, you know, I mean, what are you going to do with a t-shirt, really?
So there's every single business already has masks to give out, I would think. At least most restaurants do. I would think most retail places do as well. So I don't know that giving them to the businesses would make a whole lot of sense because you're just going to be giving them to people who don't want to wear them anyway, because they're the only ones who show up without the mask in the first place, for the most part. If you were to do t-shirts, I would agree that just giving them to random people, I think doesn't make the most sense because they will just end up in a drawer or being worn to bed or whatever. However, though, you said something about, Amy, I think you said something about giving them to restaurant employees to wear. And I think that potentially could be a good promotion, though it'd be difficult to coordinate. But if you were to, you know, try to get all the RHC restaurants on board, for example, to, you know, maybe I don't know how quickly we can get it produced, but maybe the Friday night of the Michigan State game, or, you know, a football Saturday, to request one for each one of their staff that are working that day, and then try to get all the staff to wear them, you know, all around town, just to kind of help show unity amongst the city and or to promote whatever the message is on there. Just an idea.
I agree in a way. I think that the masks are a little bit better idea right now than the t-shirts, because a lot of them just won't be worn until summertime. And what we want to try to do is make the point now, because we may want to have more funds available to do that for future. So I would have a tendency to emphasize the masks more than the t-shirts.
and so if we did the masks, hypothetically, do you guys have a strong opinion on how we would distribute them? Like, would you want me to like give them to the mask ambassadors to distribute, and then like the staff? Like, are we thinking more like man on the street distribution? I guess I would say like at random, right? Like we see somebody and they're like, hey, welcome to East Lansing, like here's a mask, kind of outreach, or
Sounds like that might be the better route. I mean, Mike makes a good point. I agree now that maybe, you know, if you're in a restaurant and you didn't bring a mask, you're probably not likely to wear it again when you go somewhere else. So maybe that's a wasted effort versus somebody who maybe even has a mask now. Maybe they'll choose to wear it. I know I have a ton because you have to wash them. You have to wear different ones here and there. So, you know, having an extra one is always helpful. So it'll get in the rotation. So yeah, maybe I think an ambassador, you know, passing them out would probably be good. I don't think it'd hurt to have some in the businesses to pass out, even, you know, here and there, depending on, you know, who they are, as a thank you or something like that, you know, free item. But, you know, I think that would be a case by case. I think Mike's right. It might be harder to do that, but the ambassador seems like a good idea. Unity sounds like a good idea too, having them wear it, you know, out and about. It's good.
And are we in agreement that, would it just be like the downtown logo? Do we think like just daytime, nighttime, anytime? Or did you have a different thought on messaging?
I couldn't understand what you just said.
I was asking, do we have a strong opinion on what the logo should be? I was just thinking it would be the DMV logo, like daytime, nighttime, anytime. Is that agreeable to everyone, or did you want something else? Like, next.
I was picturing it as being one of the stay safe to stay open.
Okay.
That's what I thought the whole point of it was. But if that's not the point, then I don't know.
You could do one that says breathe easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was also intended to tie in with the Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign. So I figured we'd use, you know, an existing, you know, marketing brand that would kind of connect to the signs around town. You know, you guys have the stencils, so
Yep.
that's, you know, something, you know, whatever image that is. But I think, you know, if our logo is on there, I don't think it hurts. But I think that most people are using them to, you know, say something. And so I think that might be, you know, a good opportunity to get that slogan out there more. I think it should reference that it's from East Lansing. I think that's a branding opportunity for sure. But, you know, I don't know how best to do that, whether or not it's just like East Lansing across the bottom or on, you know, the side. And then you like our logo here on the side, and then in the front, you know, it's, you know, the Stay Safe to Stay Open. But I think there's opportunity there.
I think the Sparty helmet with the mask on works. If there's that logo.
Are we allowed to use Sparty then if we're using it in that campaign?
So what, everybody can still hear me okay? So the process with Sparty has been this, that I just have, myself or Michael Fry just have to email MSU and say, this is the capacity we want to use Sparty in. And then so far we've been fortunate, they've just been like thumbs up to it. Because kind of the agreement at the beginning with the campaign was as long as we kind of stuck to the confines of the campaign. So my hunch is it would be like Sparty with like Stay Safe to Stay Open, for example, and then maybe we try to do like our logo to the corner, like Justin was talking about. Then I think they're cool. I think that they're fine. But we get it in writing from MSU that yes, you can use it. And it's not a terribly long turnaround, right? I think the most I've waited for is like 2 business days for a yes. We usually nudge them. So I don't think that would, you know, I think like if the goal is to try to get them out by like the U of M MSU game, you know, that's doable, I guess. I would say. So I'm hearing support for masks. Is the recommendation, would you like to go ahead and consider a motion to approve $500 today and then have staff, you know, try to work with the best vendor and get the correct quote, or is this something you'd like to take to the board for further discussion?
Let's do it. I'd like to try to do it as quickly as possible, and use the $500 now, or approve it so that we can get going on it. Just because we want to do it while the students are still here or while people are still here to help promote coming into the shops downtown.
Yeah, I'd want to approve it now just to get it moving on that as well. You know, the sooner the better to start getting in people's hands. So yeah, I agree.
So it would be $500 for the purchase of masks, aligning with the Stay Safe to Stay Open, and then, you know, putting the DMV logo somewhere on the mask. Okay. I will do a roll call vote. Houston.
Yes.
Kruger.
Yeah.
Crew.
Yes.
Quinn.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
All right. The motion
Yes.
passes. Excellent. Thank you. All right. I'm going to roll back up to make sure we don't forget anything. Okay, guys. We will get rolling on that. And I see that Gabby's joining us, and she's probably adding to her to-do list with me along. Great. So that's good. Okay. So the other sort of action item that I wanted to bring to you today is the fact that MacDonald Broadcasting reached out to staff regarding a possible partnership opportunity So I don't know how familiar you guys are with them, but they do like, you know, local radio stations in the area. I'm sure most of you have. So they reached out to us because most recently they have been doing some stuff with the DeWitt Downtown Development Authority. And I will say this, I think the DeWitt DDA functions very similar to our DMB, where they do a lot of marketing. But essentially what they've done is they've developed a concept where it would be 60-second ads. And they would, there would be 320 ads, 60 seconds each, and the total ad buy would be $2,400. I can't, I think it would be best if you guys wanted to hear it, that I could like email you out sort of the sample radio ads, but essentially the gist is that like for DeWitt, for example, they're like, you know, in the spirit of the football season, like, you know, come support downtown DeWitt is kind of the vibe, right? I'm just bringing it to you because I always bring you, you know, ad sales things. This was not solicited by staff. This is just something that they approached us with because I think that they've been reaching out to some other municipalities and DDAs as well. So I did ask them, I said, well, if the board wanted to pursue it and we wanted to go down this road of perhaps purchasing some 60-second ads, do you have any availability during the holidays? Because I know that that's a busy time. And they said, yes. They said that if we wanted to do something and it was focused on holiday, you know, shopping, dining, you know, general service support, that yes, they could create that for us. So that's what I can tell you. Obviously, they're very interested because, you know, we often get, you know, phone calls and interest from ad agencies. But it was a little different, I guess, than what I've kind of heard lately because there was sort of a community support element. Certainly, you guys have some in your budget, but I wanted to pass it on to you.
Is this something that we can you can send out to all of us when you take a closer look at it?
Sure.
And I guess my other question is, what are the possibilities of using a billboard like we did a year or two ago?
Yeah, so I'm happy to send out, because it's like an MP3 file, so it wouldn't attach to the agenda. I'm happy to send that out to you guys so you guys can hear it. That's no problem at all. As for the billboard ads, Ray, I would need to confirm with Adams Outdoor, but the last time we did that, I'm just going to bring up the budget so you guys have it. It was with Adams Outdoor Advertising. We did a digital ad. It was the digital ad outside of Frandor, and it was for 1 month. It was a $5,500 purchase. So I think you guys know what we did was the DMB paid for about 60% of the ad, if I remember correctly. And I think, I'd have to triple check my records, I think we had 6 or 8 businesses that did like a co-op ad with us. So they paid a percentage. And then they were guaranteed X amount of images. Certainly something we can look into again if that's the request.
Well, why don't we look into it and see possibly the DDA might have some funds they can contribute to, because that might, you know, once again, we're helping support and get businesses into downtown. And it did work. We did get people last time. Of course, it's a different universe than it was then, but it's maybe something we can look into and present it to the board the next meeting that we have.
Sure, I can share what staff finds out from that.
If I can make a recommendation, if you're going to talk to these people and request a proposal from them, that they cut down the time period, because that looks like that's about a month, and there's only 160 mentions over the course of a month between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. That is not very high frequency. I know they offer the 160 through the streaming, program, but I'd be curious to know what their actual audience is for streaming that particular station. And I don't know if is that the station that you are thinking that we want to target, or is there a different station that, Amy, that you are thinking?
Yeah.
Or are we looking at them to make that recommendation?
I think that they were most interested in trying to have us not hit Mike FM. I think that they were thinking 96.4 or 5. I apologize, finding my notes. Would be a better fit for East Lansing. But I think that if you guys obviously have a strong opinion about that, I can go back and say to them, you guys really want this. And yeah, Mike, I'm happy to investigate and say, no, let's time the ads. We really like more crime, right?
Sure. Then I guess also we just need to decipher whether or not, whether it's a call to action type campaign, like, hey, Black Friday sales, whatever, or if it's just a general, please come to East Lansing sort of, crying ad, try to get people to come downtown, which I don't think is going to really have any effect anyway, but that's just me. So.
Yeah, I agree with Mike about getting the a shorter time period to have it run, and certainly want to do it after the elections too. But oh well, that's another story. But doing it after Black Friday to get people in town for Christmas, the Christmas holiday season, I think would be a good idea if we have the funds available. And it's right now it does seem as if that may be the possibility.
Okay. So I'm going to confirm with them exactly what stations they'd be offering it on, and tell them that we would be interested in more primetime spots and see if that affects the bottom line, and explain to them we'd be most interested in sort of after Black Friday. And then I'm also going to work with Gabby and Marissa, and we're going to find out the latest information on billboard ad availability, and the total cost. I assume you guys would be interested in the digital billboards again, because they rotate through for possible business partnership. I just want to make sure. And is the Frandor location your primary spot, or do you want me to kind of find out about other places throughout the region? Or are we thinking that same spot as before? It was as you were, so if I was on Saginaw, it is as I am heading east. So as I'm entering.
There's so many ads that run on that. I mean, there's a minimum 10 all the time. And then if we're splitting up that one ad for 10 different businesses, I mean, which is what we did. And I know like a couple people were excited to see their thing up there when they drove by, but it's not very high frequency at all. But I would do it again.
I like the location, and there aren't that many great locations around. And the thing that I like about it is it's going into East Lansing, so it does catch them on their way in and say, oh, let's go through, as opposed to putting it way out where they say, oh, well, let's do that next time. So hopefully they'll get them to stop into East Lansing and visit the businesses and find a parking spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Ray,
don't know
there's
of another location.
But
So.
sorry, there's something to be said for that though, Ray. Like if you put it elsewhere in town, people might actually think to come to East Lansing rather than the people who all are already coming to East Lansing. So
yeah,
a couple schools of thought.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, we will get that research together for you guys and be prepared to share some additional information during the next board meeting. Okay. All right. So I guess on to continued business, unless anybody else has any other questions for me. So I did want to let you know about the status of the Great Pumpkin Walk photo contest. So I think as of today, we have 6 different submissions. And that's not too bad since we've only been in place for 6 days. So figure 1 or so a day. The one thing I wanted to point out was I know that at the last board meeting, there was a request to see if staff could use like a hashtag to allow for a submission. We ran that up to communications and the city attorney's office, and I guess that there are some legal concerns with that type of programming. So right now we just have it so that people have to submit it online. I think that that's certainly something we can pursue for next time, but right now it's the recommendation that we just do it this way because it guarantees for all intents and purposes that the application is submitted.
One question that I had, when I looked at the format online, it mentioned something that the submitter had to be a resident of East Lansing. Is that true?
No, that is not true. So if that's
okay,
on there,
well,
That is not true.
Okay, well, I was wondering about that because I thought I saw that in the information that the city provided initially, but it was not on the item that we got recently, that we just put that up in our window today.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you. That
No, they
made me
do
feel
not
better.
need to be a resident. Correct.
Good. Okay.
Okay. So I will certainly keep you guys apprised. I'll have updated numbers. You know, hopefully on Friday we'll have some more. The other thing that we added was at really no cost to ourselves. Since we last met, the farmers market is hosting. Basically, they're promoting it, and then we're kind of co-hosting like a selfie booth. So you can go to the farmers market, and there's a cute like selfie backdrop with some pumpkins and like kind of looks like a hayride kind of area. So people can go and take pictures of like themselves and their family in that area. And farmers market is just kind of monitoring it to make sure that people social distance and things like that. But you know, if you did take pictures there, then you can automatically be entered into like the grand prize of having a photo taken. So in the downtown. So we're hoping that people take advantage of that. So we'll see. I can say I've had 5 phone calls about it, so people are interested. I can say that. So some people are kind of paying attention to it. So that's what I have on that. I'm happy to answer any questions. And Ray, I will look back to make sure that there's no verbiage saying that they need to be a resident, because they do not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, I just wanted to give you the status of the Lansing Chamber of Commerce Small Business Crawl event. So if you guys go back in time with me before COVID, if you guys recall, the chamber had come to the DMB and said, we really want to do like a bar crawl event, right? And so we worked with them and we kind of gave them a blessing and we said, great, it'll be on a Thursday evening, it'll be in June, you know, it should be great. They went to city council approved it. We were ready to rock and roll. Well, then obviously COVID hit. And so now they're trying to just creatively come up with ways to engage people to come downtown. And so the latest that they shared with me is that they're going to host basically like a small business week, if you will. And I use small business really loosely, guys. I think it's really for anyone, right? Any downtown East Lansing business, and they're generally just calling it small business. But you know, the hope is that businesses will sign up to participate, will offer some sort of deal and discount, and then the chamber is going to come up with like a card, sort of like a passport card, and then you know, businesses will be listed, and it's one of those situations where like if you visit X amount of businesses, you're entered into a drawing to win like various, you know, gifts and prizes. The grand prize will be through a random drawing. Is going to be $1,000 paid for by the chamber. So they're really just trying to figure out. I guess now it's going to be like 1 week in November, and then from the 1st through the 12th in December. So just kind of try to get that, you know, people in the holiday spirit. The one thing I know that they're hoping that the DMV might be willing to do is, you know, help reach out to the businesses to see if maybe they also want to contribute something for the drawing, like a giveaway, maybe it's gift cards or things of that nature. I know we've been really hesitant to ask the businesses for anything right now, right? We're just really trying to support them, but that was a request of the chamber to see if the DMV is willing to just send out an email to the businesses and say, hey, this is going on. If you guys want to contribute something, you know, you'll be recognized through the chamber's efforts and on web pages. So, so at this point, you know, 1 week in November, 2 weeks in December, I will certainly continue to keep businesses updated as I receive information. I think that they are also doing something with, like similar with downtown Lansing. So I think that the hope is right in their mind that, you know, those cities are more represented. So does anybody have any questions? Well,
No
keep you
question.
guys updated. So that's everything that I had on my agenda. I don't know if anybody has any other things for the good of the order.
Hey, Amy, it's Jim. I had one short thing.
Yeah.
In my boring life, I was checking out Traverse City website, and
Yeah.
I think it was a DDA budget allocation item, but it was for it seemed like it was something where the DDA actually pays merchants, and it sounded like to open it's a bathroom thing, to open their bathrooms to shoppers and to people who visit the downtown area, and maybe you know, the city doesn't have restrooms that are public, and so you know, it seems like they pay merchants some kind of stipend to open their restrooms rather than say customers only. Maybe, I don't know if there's any, but I'd just be interested in a couple of the merchants' comments, because I know we have a very different downtown than Traverse City. Is that a thing, or is that nothing at all? From the merchant standpoint.
Are they doing that right now during COVID, or was that something that they just typically do during the summertime to try to?
Good question. I didn't see anything that was COVID related. In other words, pulling back because of the increased traffic and exposure for COVID. Don't know, but they apparently did have a budget item where they give these businesses stipends. So I don't know if there's a sign in the window or some other thing, or whether people just know. But if it's not worth having staff follow up on, just because it's sort of, you know, antithetical to what businesses want to do, then we should just drop it. But I was just interested in if people think staff ought to see what it is and report back, or just it's a non-starter.
My guess is the majority of at least restaurants, if not most businesses, would be happy to accept money for allowing people to use their bathroom. That would be my guess. Most of us do it anyway. I don't think there's very many businesses in the downtown that say for patrons only or customers only that I'm aware of. Maybe, you know, obviously banks can't do it. Probably some smaller boutique retail places, but that would be my guess. That's about it.
So maybe it's not needed at all. It's a welcoming environment anyway. Just not sure if that would make it more welcoming or not. That's why I asked. So good comment.
I mean, I leave it to the committee. We're happy to look into it if that's something we would like to pursue. I'd be curious to know how much people are getting paid personally. You know, how much are they paying the businesses, and what kind of agreements do they have with the businesses? Now I'm curious. So.
And again, I didn't follow up on it.
You have somebody just counting at the door.
Right. I mean, I bet it's just I would assume it's just a stipend, you know, and maybe they have a sticker decal or something that says, you know, access to a public restroom or something.
Please pee here. Yeah.
Please pee.
Yeah, poop-poopy-doo.
In the back.
Well, it can be more welcoming, and it beats using the stairwells and the parking structures.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, I'm happy to spend, you know, a couple minutes down to see what we can find out.
To your point, though, Jim, and that's a fair point that you make, but I think that the businesses that you know, are open at that time of night when people are peeing in the stairwells are already probably full of people, and so that's why it's difficult to allow people in to pee in the business, or I'm sorry, use the restroom. I don't even keep saying the other thing, but
yeah, that's true.
The retail places aren't open during that time. You know, it's saved for game days, which is why we typically try to request getting the porta potties done.
Right, the porta potties to handle game days. Yeah, I was thinking more of shopping. I didn't think about the nighttime things, because you have limitations on the number of folks that you can have into a bar and restaurant at this point. So that's kind of hard to manage. But I was thinking more just to make it a conducive environment to shoppers, and whether that would make a difference to traffic at all in downtown, to shopping traffic. But yeah, I just wanted to test the idea, and I don't know, Amy can take a look. Maybe it's worth a hit to their website or something to see if you can pick up more.
Yeah, we can spend a couple minutes looking at it.
Well, we are saving money from not having to use porta potties this year at least. So we have some extra funds available for whatever purpose.
Well, it's funny you brought that up, Ray, because at business relations, we were going to still talk about the possibility of porta potty reservations, but if you guys have strong opinions, I'll take them now and relay them to business relations. So there was some discussion among staff last week about, even though there's not as many people obviously coming in town to go to the stadium, do we think we need porta potties? Does anybody have an initial gut reaction?
I don't think that there's not enough people really to make it worth justify the expense as far as I can see. To football games or during the week or anytime right now, because there just aren't that many people coming into downtown, and the ones that do frequently either they hold their water or they go in the businesses that have public restrooms. So I don't know that we really need to have those in this year. Next year may be a totally different thing. Let's hope so.
Do others kind of echo that opinion? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if they're necessary. It depends. I mean, hard to see how many people are going to be down there, but I don't think there's going to be that many people that are going to overflow the downtown area that would require additional restrooms.
Yeah.
To go back to Jim's point, I mean, from a retail standpoint, it was beneficial to have a public bathroom that people could use, that, you know, half the group wants to shop and somebody has to use the bathroom, they'll use the bathroom, whatever. Being when construction was happening and they moved the bus stop down in front of me, having a public restroom was probably not the most glorious thing to have. If I had a sign on the door that said we had a public restroom, I mean, it would have been, the door would have been open 24/7. I mean, because it was a constant, I mean, people want constantly, do you have a bathroom? 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 So, you know, people that definitely clearly had no interest in shopping or even looking around or anything, they were looking specifically for a bathroom. So I don't know if that helps or hurts, but it was nice from a retail standpoint to have the people that were actually shopping have a bathroom.
Motion to adjourn.
Kruger's on it. Is there a second?
Second. Quinn.
Second, third.
Third. All right. I will do a quick roll call vote. Quinn.
Yes.
Kruger.
Yes.
Houston.
Yes.
Kroon. Who's with me?
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes. Yes.
The motion passes. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. I did send out appointments for our next board meeting via Zoom. I will continue to keep you guys updated on that. So hopefully you got that today. Just an appointment, not like a Zoom invitation, but you guys should have gotten a calendar appointment from me. So if you didn't, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you guys the first week of November, and we will get started on our to-do list. So thanks as always for all your dedication. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.